know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because he's done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. Hey there, Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns. Just want to comment and say BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for football, baseball, boxing, golf, and much more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Hey, what's up, party people? I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn. JD, how we doing, brother?
What's going on? What's going on, Marcus? How you doing, my brother? It's a wonderful Wednesday night, man. What's going on in the T-scheme, all in the NFL? These nights, in the middle of the week, it's always like I look at it springboarding into the weekend. Okay, that's what Wednesday night is, and so you only got 2 more days of work week. If that's what your work schedule is, and you're looking forward to it. So right now in the Chiefs Kingdom, we got a few things going on. Hold on, let me get my mic. I always keep getting my mic.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We hear you loud and clear, baby.
Okay, but yeah, I think it's going to be exciting what we're seeing in the next few days. What's going on, man? How you doing? I'm doing all right, though.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I love it because Wednesday we get to, you got Monday, Tuesday. Obviously, Monday we have our new show that we started this season, kind of looking at position groups, whether it's off season or in season. And then Wednesday night we have our regular schedule Chief Concerns show. And it's like once I get to Wednesday, it's like, okay, yeah, we have two more days to the weekend, and then we're right back to it on Monday again, going at the grind and stuff. But like, man, it's for it being like the last week before the real official offseason begins. I know we had the combine last week, but like, what was the last week of like non-NFL news? Yeah, there's gonna be speculation. Obviously speculation is gonna continue up until training camp with everything, new contracts, extensions, all that stuff, possible, more training camp casualties. But this is like the last week of no real football news, and then once Monday comes, where guys can what's the non-tampering period, where players can talk to teams and stuff, the non-tampering period, which, I mean, JD, you'd probably know better than I do that there's the conversations have begun already with some of these teams and free agents, or at least agents of these players that these teams are looking at. And that began last week at the combine, where they know representation of one guy is the representation of another guy that they know it could be very well in the building. So yeah, I'm ecstatic about this episode tonight, and I'm ecstatic about next week, of course.
Me too, and you're absolutely right. The thing is, this precursor, like you said, being at the combine, running to guys. This is where all the things do happen during off season. This is like the first thing where you get into doing the salacious stuff, all the gossip. I'm gonna have a dinner with this guy. I'm gonna go over to the hotel, talk to this team, or this coach. Like a lot of that's going on during the combine right now, and so a lot of trash talk, and then also too, contract negotiations are going on right now, especially during this time, especially the combine, about who you got, who's this guy really, is he worth this type of money, all those different things, right? And so I know that the owners probably take it upon themselves to have conversations with each other as well, right? With contracts, things maybe not getting too far ahead of them and what they're willing to pay for particular positions and players. So, yeah. Not saying that's collusion or anything like that, but I do believe that they talk about these things to discuss it, maybe to try to somewhat control the market, if you will, right?
Or get ahead of the market too.
Get ahead of it, right?
A little bit of insider trading for the guy, especially with the guys who are on their own team, right? So obviously, they've been negotiating with Chris Jones's people since the, middle of the season, doing the, working on what that number is supposed to be, which we're going to get into what that number is going to be. But yeah, I mean, and obviously a lot of these agents do have, other guys who may be free agents. So, hey, like, we're working on that Chris Jones deal, but I see you got so-and-so over there. Like, what do you think his, what's his market going to be like? Maybe, putting some feelers out there to see what's, they can get something done.
Yeah. Yeah. We get excited, man. I can't wait.
Exciting time. It's an exciting time. Looking in the chat here, we got Wendy, HVHY, Andrea, Julia Gulia. That's not a very, I think it's a new name. That's a very unfamiliar one.
Julia. That's like, what's the,
Wedding Singer.
Wedding Singer, yeah. Julia. Yeah. I can't remember what that was. So
Daniel Longsnaff. You guys got to ask, should the Chiefs trade Sneed to the Steelers for a player like Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, or Pat Freiermuth? JD, what do you think about that?
No.
Draft picks?
It had to be draft picks. I think you do a little bit more with draft picks. Pickens, I don't know what you keep talking about Pickens, man. We'll find somebody else besides Pickens. I like Pickens. He's obviously in Deontay Johnson both, but I don't know. Shoot. Then, they can bring a whole lot of different scenarios, man. You can ask, we're going to ask for Justin Jefferson and all those different things. I mean, it's, I'm sure a lot of different scenarios.
Wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind Justin Jefferson, JD.
No, I mean, okay. Neither would I. I don't think there's a pathway to get there is the question, right? That's my thing. So it's good.
We got Julia Goulia's asking a question here. So asked this question at the beginning of the season, and the consensus was 4 years. Asking again, how long do we have Kelce for, JD? If at the beginning of the season you said 4 years, that means we have 3 years left with him. If you're going to stick with that.
Right now, my projection, to be honest with you, is probably around 2, probably at least 2 more years. We have Kelce. Is that what I'm in my thought process? It's playing. So if I'm thinking, all right, here we talking a guy who is 35 years old. Is that how old Trav is? Isn't he something like that? 30, 35, 34,
33, 34?
I don't know. He's, obviously they think,
34.
34 years old, 34 years old. So he may retire the same age as his brother. His brother retired at 36. And so if he stays healthy, and if he's still as productive as he always has been, right? I think, and if he still loves the game, I think he'll try to do it as long as he possibly can. But I know at least I could project at least 2 years that we can enjoy a Travis Kelce being here, at least the 2. So that's what I see. For 4 years, I don't know. That's, I'll say safe with the 2. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think his brother retiring, maybe if we did think 4 years, it probably could come down a little bit, not having his brother in the league anymore. But I mean, hey, as long as they still have their podcasts and stuff, they're still doing stuff together. I'm curious to see how that's going to be this year when one's playing, one's not playing, to see what that does to their New Heights podcast, which we'll get into those guys later on in the show, talk a little bit more about the brothers, the Kelce bros.
Real quick on that. So I did see what Travis was talking about when when Jason had retired. It was like a quick little snippet. It was like, a little bit, it was like lost right there with me when you retired. You know what I mean? Like the incentive, you know what I mean? Because he's doing it with his brother. But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay.
Yeah. Seeing just a few more. I'm not going to go through all the questions. We have some topics to get to tonight, everybody. But
Garrett, my brother, what's going on? There it is. Garrett Wilson,
Yeah, what's up?
Podcast.
Does CJ still the same age? Yeah, he's still got the Cats brothers. Have they come off the 30 year? We're going to get into that tonight, Matthew. So you should be ready for that topic. We're coming out of the gates with that one. All right, so we're gonna roll it. Okay, HVHY, go till the wheels fall off, baby. Yeah, that's what Travis said. Taking the quote. That's a direct quote from Travis Kelce. Go till the wheels fall off. So yeah, hopefully, but hopefully not. Hopefully not technically until the wheels fall off. But
yeah.
All right, so we're going to start off with the main topic of the week, and I don't think Chiefs game is going to go to sleep until there's some closure to this in a good way. So got a few nuggets to pull from this week. So Chris Jones doing what he did a lot this past season with kind of trolling with social media. He's kind of pulling the Joel Embiid of the NFL with like trolling with Chief fans. But So NFL Network's Mike Garofalo, during a roundtable discussion about the upcoming free agency period, mentioned he could see Chris Jones ending up in Las Vegas with the Raiders. A Chiefs fan commented saying he'd be dead to the Chiefs if he did this. Jones replied with the handshake emoji. And then Chiefs Twitter, of course, did their thing. They erupted. Then another fan tweeted saying it's not that serious. Chris Jones trolls all off seasons just to be dominated. He really just passing time and likes to interact with Chief fans, I think, /hope. And Chris Jones liked that tweet. But to go to more positive news, Adam Schefter on Pat McAfee's show this week said Chris Jones' deal isn't done yet, but the Chiefs would be surprised if it didn't get done. And then a couple days before that, Jeremy Fowler reported that the feeling in Kansas City is they can reach the range of $27 million to $28 million per year. That should help close the deal. However, Fowler also noted the Chiefs have work to do because Jones could probably surpass those numbers if he hits the open market. So, JD, as free agency nears, how confident are you that this deal gets done? Seeing all the stuff that went on this week, making a joke about the Raiders thing and all this stuff, are you concerned at all?
Okay, I'll start out with this. I would be shocked if a deal didn't get done. And for the reason that is because of the significance of Chris Jones, his play, him being here, is our championships is directly tethered to Chris Jones and what he's done on the field. There's no doubt about it. There's no get away from it. Like I said before, we're not winning 3 Super Bowls without Chris Jones. That's a fact. That's just, you're not going to be able to do it. Now, here's what I'll say, okay? Because I just kind of thinking about this. Yeah, this is Chris is MO, right? To mess with Chiefs Twitter, right? He knows that some of the fans are neurotic. He knows people out here are very nervous about particular things. They're very diehard fans, and rightfully so. This is something that I see as a former player myself, kind of the fandom, right? And the investment that fans have in teams. To me, when people say you do this and you're dead to us, I think sometimes, to me, that's a little bit too far, right? Chris does it. He kind of trolls people. He gets a kick out of it. But for fans, man, this is a serious deal for them. We understand like this, the psychology behind it is because we have an identity. You want teams to win. That's why, you get all the paraphernalia. You got all the, Chief stuff, that's what you do. And so when you invest so much in time and effort into, your fans or to the team and the players, then it becomes personal to them, right? And so they get so invested that this could be the bad part of, like, if you're too invested into the team, right? And I don't think Chris understood it. I didn't quite understand it as a player, like I said before, because as players, we understand the other side of the business. Look, we would love to go play at a team for 13 years like a Jason Kelce, right? Like, use his name earlier. Yep. And not go anywhere else. And teams compensate you for what you've been doing, your productivity, and what you feel like your market value is and what you're worth, right? This is something that we do in our own daily lives, okay? That we want to get paid what we think that we're worth to get paid, especially with the market that has been set by other ones. And so you always want to compare yourself to other players on this. Well, Chris, I think when he's doing these, kind of playing with people on Twitter, fans on Twitter, Instagram, wherever else he's on, doing this, he has a whole different perspective as opposed to how the fans are. Because I look at it, okay, as a former player, like I said before, you want to get paid as much money as you possibly want to get paid. And if you feel like you're not being compensated for that and you're being lowballed, and it seems like teams are hindering you from moving forward with getting a better pay, then for Chris, he's like, look, man, I've done everything I possibly do here with the Chiefs. I've given everything I've given to the Chiefs. All I'm asking you to do is get paid reasonably for what my production is. I will make everybody else around here better. I brought championships here to the Chiefs. And so I think Chris, he definitely deserves the 27-28 range. I think if they're around there, I think Chris takes it. I think he does, right? Because it's got to be it's got to be a give here, right? It's got to be a give and take. It has to be in these negotiations.
Yep.
So what ends up happening is sometimes the team is like, well, look, if you don't want to sign this deal, then you can just go ahead and move on, which I think is just kind of wrong. Mm-hmm. Especially if what the guy's been giving you, you can immediately see the impact of what he's been able to do. Not to mention how it all went down the previous season. All off season you fought to try to get him here or lowball him, not going to give him nothing. He was, you were signed to a deal, and you talked about it. You said, okay, hey, look, we're going to get a deal done, and a deal didn't get done, right? And so all of a sudden he gets paraded out in front of different people. He comes to the stadium because he wants to be around his guys. People thought he was selfish, and you need to take this, and so it all became a mess. Okay, because what you end up doing is once you get the fans involved in this, because of their investment, and they feel like they have say in what guys do and don't do, then again, it becomes messy. It might become a little nasty, and that's what I just don't want to see. I think the Chiefs, without a doubt, should be able to find that 28 mark for Chris. To me, he's worth every penny. He's worth every penny. So if we're talking about a million, $1.5 million, each year or something like that, that's what you're away. Come on, man, y'all got to be able to get this thing done. Yeah. So if the Chiefs are saying that, then that gives me at least some hope that they're going to try to go ahead and meet, where they should be, something that's reasonable for both of them. And if Chris is seeking $30 million, yeah, they might get him to walk. But this is what we're talking about, the free agency, Marcus. We was talking about that, right? This is what happens to free agency. If he goes out and teams like, look, man, we'll give you 31 or 32. Well, we seen how Tyreek Hill took the money. It went down to South Beach because it was a payday for him. He did everything he needed to do, I guess, in the NFL, won the Super Bowl. He's been regarded as one of the best receivers in the game. Okay. He thought he could go down, take his abilities and make Miami better. And he did. He did that. But he wasn't able to get a Super Bowl with them because they still have the other pieces on the team. I think it puts, if we don't have Chris, then it puts us in a situation too, maybe defensively, where that hurts us. Put it that way. I'm just going to be real. Okay. Like I said, you can't mimic Chris Jones and what he's been able to do. So that's why I think it does get done, man. I do believe it gets done. So
yeah, seeing the handshake emoji, I know a lot of people are pissed off about that, but I'm a big fan of the handshake emoji use this year. So there's multiple ways you can look at this. You do this and you're dead to us. I got you, brother. Not going to happen. Don't worry. But people were taking that as a handshake emoji, like, all right, bet, like I'll do what I want to do, kind of thing. But like you could look at that in multiple ways. I thought it was funny, just having fun with fans. But seeing something here from Flapjack City, let's just check this out. I haven't seen this yet. It said he's trending on Twitter. KC Chiefs have a 3-year offer, 25 to 26 mil per year on the table for all world DT Chris Jones per source. This is trending on Twitter. Hope this ain't true. I'll be mad at Veach. If that is, I haven't seen anything on that. And I will say that sounds like the same offer that we had during the season for him, that the one that he didn't want to take. Right.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, that would be lowball numbers of 25, 26.
Especially with the cap going up.
Yeah, with the cap definitely going up. That, to me, that would be disrespectful. I would be like, man, that's, you are now it's falling on deaf ears as far as like what you want. Okay. I don't know. This is a source. I know Flapjack City said per source. So we don't know what the source is, who's saying this or whatever. No idea. Right. But if it is, like, there's no way. If you offer 25, 26, 27 could definitely be your number. 27, 28. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why it can't be that much. So yeah, I'm seeing this on Twitter. It's from a Twitter account called @49ers Sports Talk. Has about 30,000 followers.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing he just messaged here. It says the Chiefs had 3-year offer, 26 on the table for Chris Jones. I told Chris Jones knows he can get a 4-year deal and $30 million annually on the open market. The buzz around the combine was teams are lining up for Chris in case he knows it. I mean, I don't know where this guy's getting that 30,000 followers, but I mean, it's not. If Schefter and Fowler aren't reporting it, or those guys aren't reporting, I'll stick to what Schefter said 2 days ago. You know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's not in law, man. I like I said, I kind of stay away from those things because I'm not sure what the thing is. And I think it was last year the same thing. They were kind of talking about what it was going to be.
Yeah.
49ers too. Come on, man. Yeah, if they want to do anything, they definitely want to get stress the Chiefs kingdom out here. Oh yeah, I heard a source, right?
No.
So you just beat somebody in the Super Bowl. Crushed their dreams, and all of a sudden now they got some source saying they know Chris Jones, the Chiefs are giving him low balling at 25-26. And if it's true, they need to get their number up. They do.
So let me ask you this, okay? And this is obviously we're going on this speculative 3-year 25-26 number. So I read that Christian Wilkins, a DT that's leaving Miami, who's going to test the open market. Yeah. I read that 3-year $25-26 million deal is something that he wants. What if? This is a speculative thing. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Christian Wilkins, essentially. Let's say Jones is like, no, I want 30. I'm going to hold firm at that. I'm going to test the open market because I know I can get that. Wilkins, he'll gladly take a 3-year, $25-26 million deal. What are your thoughts on potentially that and if we have a backup plan to that?
I mean, it's going to be a business. If that's what they decide to do, it's what they decide to do. My thing is, we know Chris Jones. We know what he gives to a defense. And so Wilkins, I mean, yeah, he's worked somewhere else and he's very effective, but he's not a Chris Jones. So that's my thing. That's a big difference. And so when we're talking about like being able to affect the entire game, like 2 guys I know for sure, okay? 2 guys in the NFL I know for sure can affect the game on defense, of defensive line, defensive tackles. It's Aaron Donald and it's Chris Jones. I know it for a fact. All these other guys are great too at what they do, okay? They usually have a guy beside them, another punch, and it's not really taken away from all the other guys been around Chris. But Chris hadn't really had the help like some of these other guys have had. So that's what I'm saying. And if Chris is looking and holding firm to 30, man, he just got to hold with his guns. Man, this is a game of chicken at this point. But my thing is, it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. Like I said, if you come into this and you've been here, this guy's had his whole career here. You don't won 3 Super Bowls with Chris Jones. Okay, 3-peat is very important for you, right? It's very important. Something that has never been done in the history of the game. You want to make this happen. Chris Jones has to be your top priority to make this happen. So if you're a meal or 2 meals apart, man, get it done. And I think everybody got to make concessions. Everybody has to, right? My thing is this, and this is going back to, fans and, how they're, because we get so invested in it. And that's what ends up happening, that you have stress. They talk about like people go into like depression after the season is over. When teams lose, depression, when people put so much money like betting and, in so much engagement into these players and these teams, they don't like that when all these things are going on. What happens in this is because the team has won 3 championships, now all of a sudden it didn't feel like Chris Jones is worthy of these things, right? And you take away from his greatness, or at least doesn't recognize or say, well, he's not worth that much. If he wants to play here, then he needs to go ahead and give a team-friendly deal. He's done that, right? The guy wants to end his career here. Let's make it happen. Veach, make it happen. Shoot, he got a long-term deal with Andy, with Spags and all those guys. Man, he is synonymous with the Chiefs right now. Why not have him here for the rest of his time? I want Chris Jones, saying it right now, I want Chris Jones to have a retirement press conference like Jason Kelce did.
Yeah.
Certain guys here that I want to see do that.
Yeah.
Chris Jones is one of them. Travis Kelce is another. And Patrick Mahomes is the third.
Yeah.
All three guys.
None of this one-day contract to retire as a Chief. None of that. None of that nonsense.
Yeah. No, I'll bring him back, so but fans are serious about that. He'd be dead to us. Why?
Yeah.
Look, I get it. I do. I get it now. I do get it now. But some of this where we got to back up to, like, look, you know what? Like, we let these guys work these things out. Let them do what they need to do.
Everyone always says trust Veach, so let's trust Veach on this one, guys. So Flapjack said he's got another comment here. If we don't sign him by Sunday, how worried are we, JD? Are you extremely worried if it's not done by Sunday? Is there a time or day that you're setting, like, oh man, if he's not signed by this day? Because I guess most fans, and I am too, most fans are worried about the fact that as soon as the open market hits, if he hasn't already been, as soon as people calling him already, as soon as that market hits, you got the Raiders saying, hey man, we'll give you 30 to 35 a year. Come down to Vegas. You like the facilities, why don't you come on over?
It would really have to depend on the case, man. You had to make it something where offer he couldn't refuse. And I don't think Chris Jones, I'm saying I don't think, but I don't know. I'm not in his head. But I don't see a reason not to get this thing done, to run it down. And even if he is getting, pulled to get $30 million somewhere else, all money ain't good money. It's not. But he's got to take care of himself, his family. He's got to make sure his best interest is at heart. And so they got to be forthcoming with money. The Chiefs, they got to be like, okay, you know what? We'll bite the bullet. We ain't got no problem with that. Hey, man, put it there. Sign the deal. Let's get it done. So, we as football players, we all been there before. At one point, I was the same way. That when your negotiations, like, look, man, what we gonna do? Our agent is here. We're there, and me and Carl was able to get something done. And I talked directly to Carl. Not my agent talked, and they, of course, they're blunt hounds, and Denny Thune, great guy. He was doing the contracts, and they was my agent and Denny going back and forth talking about these things. I had a conversation with Carl Peterson. It's a personal conversation. So that's what you have to do. Veach and these guys got to get it down, and Veach got like, look, man, we got to understand that Chris Jones is a staple in Kansas City. There's no reason why we need to let him leave anywhere else. Okay. So,
yeah. If hypothetical here, if you were to go to Las Vegas, where would you put that compared to the Neil Smith going to Denver? Because that's a lot of what Chief fans are saying right there. Saying if he goes there, that's like when Neil Smith went to Denver. Where would you compare that? Would you see it as very similar? I think the whole AFC West aspect really rubs people off the wrong way.
I don't know. It could be. That's like, for me, as a fan and as a player, I understand fully well if Chris goes somewhere else. I understand it. And sometimes if people don't appreciate you and people will turn on you that quick, what makes it he has to be holding the guys, right? Yeah. Or the Chiefs Kingdom. Yeah. Especially if he starts hearing the same thing, you'll be dead to us. And Chris, like, well, what you want me to do? Do you want me to sign the deal for $24 million, $25? Doesn't matter what they offer me. At what point do you feel like, I'm, being benevolent in what I'm doing, right? When is the team, the fans on my side? So it's just these things, man. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all, man. So we'll keep it posted on what goes on. We'll let these guys handle it. But I do believe they'll get a deal done, man. I do.
Yeah. Hopefully by next week's show, hopefully by our Monday show, we got something inked up. Hopefully they get something over the weekend done. Hopefully. So we're gonna go to another rumor that's making the rounds, and this is, it's not the sexiest of names here, but this is a rumor that it's a need, so we're gonna talk about it. So at the Combine last week, there was some chatter that the Chiefs could be the team to watch to land Chicago Bears free agent wide receiver Darnell Mooney. Mooney had his two best seasons with our offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, as his head coach in Chi-Town. hauling in 61 passes for 631 yards and 4 touchdowns as a rookie, and then 81 catches for over 1,000 yards and another 4 scores in 2021. His productivity has declined since Nagy left, but his best 2 years were when Matt Nagy was there. Matt Nagy's our OC. Matt Nagy, we need receivers over here in Kansas City. And Darnell Mooney's a guy who wouldn't break the bank, likely wouldn't break the bank with us. Where do you see, or how good do you feel about a potential Darnell Mooney addition to our wide receiver room, JD?
I mean, I like Darnell Mooney. I like Mooney. I think he does a good job, man. He's a very athletic guy, catches the ball really well, runs pretty good routes, very quick, has speed. I mean, I like him. I like him a lot. Obviously, the past couple of years hadn't really been that friendly to him. So we've seen it last year's 40 and 31. That's what his numbers were. In 2022, it was 40 receptions for 493 yards, 2 touchdowns. And last year was 31 receptions for 414 yards, 1 touchdown. So we seen, like you said, under Nagy, he had 81 catches with 1,000-yard range. Yeah. So he's a guy that could definitely come in and help us, no doubt about it. He won't break the bank. The question is he your star number 1 like you want? Is the question.
I think if we did that move, I think we'd probably draft a receiver, but I think that would be the makings of making Rice your number 1 and then having guys around that.
I mean, you could do that, but
you don't see that being a thing, or what's the what's your hesitation in that?
Yeah, I can see it being a thing. My thing is, when we went through this last year, the past 2 years, okay, and making it tougher. Yeah, Rice could be your number 1. Okay, catching a lot of footballs, no doubt about it. We've seen that. But it was almost like he had to become my number 1 as a rookie, distributed. And it was a tough road. It was a tough road, man. Listen to. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. So we're going to be straight. I think Darnell Mooney is a good receiver. I do not believe that Patrick Mahomes have to keep working with wide receivers in a level of difficulty, just making it tougher year in and year out on him. I just don't. The last 2 years is not over. It's not overwhelming for me. It doesn't warm me up at all. I'm to be honest. Okay, I just want to be honest. And so, if you want to go get a guy, go get somebody like we talked about Tyler Lockett, and we don't know if that ever happened. Okay, but we do need to get a guy that I think, and I've said this, Marcus, and y'all can go back and look, but I've always said you need to get a guy who's on consistent 70, 80 catches a year. Consistent. Consistency is needed. Consistency is needed. And so Darnell Mooney, great receiver. Love to have him. He would be my second option as opposed to getting like your number 1 etched in stone receiver. Okay. I like Rashid Rice. I love Rashid Rice. He's a hell of a player. And he could be our number 1, no doubt about it. I think because of how our offense is ran, that Rashid caught a lot of those wide receiver screens, a lot of slants. We know and the thing is, he was able to get, the rap tree opened up a little bit more for him.
Yeah.
So able to get a couple more digs, able to get, a couple of comebacks, some deep balls here and there on the outside. We just didn't do enough of it. I want a guy that has an open wide, when we talk about route tree, because everybody talking about route tree, okay? That means you can run any route, to 0 to 9, okay? Streak, out, curl, post, dig route, shallow cross, wheel, arrow, whatever you want to run, okay? You got the back shoulder throw, the fade, to go up and go get it ball, touchdown ball, all those things. Like, there's nothing that a guy can't run. Darnell Mooney has that ability to do those things, okay? We know Patrick is a very capable quarterback. What gives me pause about this whole thing is I don't want it to come in and then all of a sudden it's like this struggle, okay, that you still got to get over the hump. Now, we see Mooney do really well with Nike, okay? And he's very involved. He's understanding of the offense. I'm sure we're going to get another guy in the draft. We're going to get another guy, draft a guy. Mooney's a young guy, okay? He is. He's a young guy. We need a veteran presence, man. We need a veteran guy. I'm sorry. We need a veteran guy. I'm so big on this because when you keep bringing in young guys, the room keeps getting younger, then understanding professionalism kind of wanes there too. And so it's like these guys all learning together, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing when you're creating great habits, when you're doing great things. A veteran guy has a little bit more understanding. They can't just be any veteran guy. And don't get me wrong, it's not just any veteran guy. I have pause for all these guys that came in. All these names is coming out. Believe me, I have a concern for each and every one. Names of Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown, Gabe Davis. And it's more than just catches, okay, or receptions. It's about how a guy moves, his ability to get the best out of other guys, okay? Motivating guys, challenging guys, okay? Doing everything right as they should, okay? Work ethic, everything, like all that goes into it, okay? This passion and this, because sometimes the drive for some guys that come from losing programs, I'm going to tell you, sometimes this stuff can be contagious. And you seen McCall Harmon talk about it. Like, look, when I was up there with the Jets, them jokers right there didn't have no idea what it meant to win. Yeah. No idea. This is a championship organization. We got to make sure we're going to have the caliber of guys that come here that's going to be able to affect us, continues to be at the top, right? Not saying Darnell Mooney won't do it. I like Darnell Mooney, right? I do like him, okay? So it's not a bad move. I like it. I like to have him and the other guy, somebody else, and then get a free agent dude. Yeah. Right? So
there's two things there that kind of I wouldn't mind Darnell Mooney move at all. I think that would mean we're definitely going to get a draft, a receiver in the top 2 rounds of the draft. But again, the age aspect, the youth kind of thing. It's not bad. Youth movement's great and all, but it's nice to have a vet in there that knows what he's talking about. The one thing that kind of stands out here is, all right, so yeah, and I'll say this. So one point I want to bring up is Darnell Mooney's best season, and that was with Matt Nagy, and I think that was Trubisky in 2021. His best year was better than MVS's best year ever. And I know we just got rid of MVS, making a lot of money. Darnell Mooney, I don't think it's going to even touch what MVS made, which is nice. We're getting a little discount there for a guy who's has a little bit more than what MVS can. MVS was a burner, kind of a straight line guy. We didn't utilize his strength as much as I thought we should have. For whatever reason, we didn't. But Mooney has a little bit more to his game than that. And just looking at MVS's past year, MVS for 21 for 315 and a touchdown. Mooney's worst year was this past year also, but he still had a better year than MVS, 31 for 414 and a touchdown in regular season. But my hesitancy in bringing in Darnell Mooney is this, JD, and I'm curious what you think about this. We brought in Anthony Miller during the season, another ex-Bear that Nagy had in Chicago. So what are we just trying to right the wrongs of Nagy's past, of his draft picks, and bringing in his guys and Anthony Miller and Darnell Mooney? Is that how we're going to solve our receiver room? I just I feel it's very half-assed.
You're getting guys that Look, you get guys that okay?
Yep.
There's guys that you got to help you win. Yeah, sure, they did. So he's getting people that are familiar with him. So we don't know. Mooney would be a good option here. But I think you should seek out, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm looking at Optimistic James. Optimistic James is saying, I got names, Macklin, McCardle, Kennison, MVS, it said that never worked. Morton. So I'm going to talk about the guys I know, Kennison and Morton, all right? And I'm going to tell you something. These guys worked out. There's no doubt about it. Eddie Kennison, when he came here, was a top receiver. And he was able to handle somebody like Dwayne Bowe. Johnny Morton, who came here, caught a lot of balls on the outside. We had to make a different system, too. So we didn't run a whole lot of wide receiver screens. We throwing the ball, Trent was pushing the ball down the field. So I know what their presence was in the locker room, helping young guys. And it was major. It was major. So you could start with that mess, optimistic James. I'm telling you, because that's not true. Not on those guys. Now, Jeremy Macklin and McCall, you can talk about their MBS, sure. But as far as like when you look at Morton and you look at Kennison's numbers, you see what we were doing. Not to mention we was handing the ball off to Pre Sons or Larry Johnson most of the time.
Yeah.
So we worked. Those guys was getting open. And I know every Johnny Morton, Eddie Kennison, I could put my trust in them. I knew they was going to be able to catch the football. No question about it. Ball going to the top, E. Kane going to get it. We run a dig route, J-Mo going to catch it. He going to get in the end zone to get the worm, the little worm he does. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. But not one AFC championship. It's more than just one guy. It's a team sport. Optimistic James. It's a team sport, man. It's really the last known team sport out here that we see that guys can't be. Not one guy's going to be able to win it. It's got to take, a myriad of guys. So if we want to talk about that, we can talk about what we didn't do on defense, and we talk all those different things.
Right.
But it's more than just that. The Chiefs, because of what they have right now, putting everything together, have a very good football team. What I'm trying to import right now is Patrick Mahomes doesn't seem like he has to continue to do things like Superman, even though we know he's Superman, okay? Let's give Patrick Mahomes the Justice League. How about that? How about we give Superman, Batman, and the Flash, and Green Lantern, you know what I mean? Martian Manhunter. Yeah, let's, get all those guys here. Aquaman, let's help him out. How about that? Okay? So always makes it good. It's a good DC reference. I'm a comic guy, so.
The Super Friends, I'm with you on that. The Hall of Justice, I grew up on that stuff, JD. My older brothers taught me well.
Yeah, Hall of Justice.
Well, the one thing about the Eddie Kennison stuff, I think Eddie Kennison, because he made a comment about pretty much we've never really had great receiver acquisitions. Eddie Kennison resurrected his career in Kansas City. I mean, he came over from St. Louis and Denver, and his best numbers were in Kansas City. And they were coming over from St. Louis. He was there at the beginning of the greatest show on turf. He leaves that. It comes back. It comes to Kansas City. Has his career numbers with us. I mean, his best numbers are by far in Kansas City with a team that was primarily a rushing offense. So, if we were to get Eddie Kennison in this offseason, if that guy was available now, it'd be phenomenal. I mean, his numbers were great with us, and that was again primarily a run offense who prioritized using their tight end like a wide receiver one, and he still managed to get 1,000 yards in that offense a few times. So, Eddie Kennison is probably one of the best. Contrary to what he said, or what Optimus James said there, it's probably one of the best receiving acquisitions we've ever had overall. I mean, you can look it up by looking at numbers.
We led the league like 3 years in a row. At least top three, I know 3 of the 4. You know who that was? It was the Kansas City Chiefs. This guy right here that you're talking to was part of that. Yeah. Okay. So he's blowing guys out the water on defense. So
yeah, and I don't like to be. I get what Mr. James is saying here, but might as well check the rings. I mean, so that's it. So pretty much at the end of the day, you're gonna negate a lot of guys who come to the NFL who have put up tremendous numbers because they don't want to ring. The whole ring debate, man. I'm not a big fan of that.
It's silly because there's guys that probably didn't catch a whole lot of footballs, got Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
Didn't even contribute to what they would to the success and got rings. So look, we could get it. We know right now, and this is why it's so hard, so difficult to get to the championship and win a Super Bowl. My thing is, let's continue to make this path easier for him, not more difficult. Okay. Like what Pat did this past year was phenomenal. It was like the entire team. And so the thing is, this, I'm going to get into this conversation really, but put guys around me that because Travis is getting older, okay? Travis is getting older, and we know we got a young receiver, we got one, okay? And there's all the other questions. Now you bring back Watson is a question, McCall Harmon is a question coming back. We don't know what's going to go on with him, okay? KT and all, it's going to be a rearrange of the wide receiver room. Believe me, Sky Moore's going to be here because he's a draft pick, And then all of a sudden, you start looking in the wide receiver room, start looking at guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So give him some targets to throw the ball to. Mooney, I ain't got no problem with it. My thing is, I like a veteran presence. Veteran presence absolutely works, without a doubt. It helps out with everything. It helps the coaches out, helps everybody out. And if you've never been in the locker room, you just don't know that.
Nope.
You don't know. I tell you what, part of the reason some of the difficulty on the wide receiver this past year was because we didn't have a veteran presence in the room. Let me say that. Okay. And I know that for a fact. So I'll leave it there. All right. Now MVS kind of, started finding his way, but I'll stop right there.
Yep.
So
fair points there. We need a wide receiver room that has some vets in it because having a young room can be dangerous if they aren't producing. Yeah, which is what we kind of saw this year, which is what JD was making the point right there. Yeah. 100%. I wouldn't mind Mooney as long as there's other guys with that. It's not just Mooney and that's it. We solved everything. Because it's not.
Listen, if you go get Mooney and you go get a stellar wide receiver in the first round, that's going to have to be your first pick. That's got to be your thought. Like, well, then we're going to get a wide receiver, no miss guy in the first round. Okay, fine. You could deal with that. You could do those things.
Yep.
A lot easier than it was last year, but it's still difficult. So,
yep. And there's what do you call it? Was it Nick Wright was saying on First Things First 2 days ago? He thinks the Chiefs are going to draft Lad McConkey, the little guy. Well, not a little guy, but he can play inside and outside receiver with that from Georgia. Which I mean, he runs phenomenal routes. I mean, he's got a little bit of Cooper Kupp and Antonio Brown in him. If you get a little hybrid action. I mean, some of his routes, obviously, those are guys who are phenomenal, but he has a little bit of that to him, a little Cooper Kupp AB to him, inside and outside. Hey, we love that versatility.
Well, shoot, until he gets in the league and start doing what Cooper Kupp is doing,
Yeah,
we got to watch who we're using in the same sentence. There's some similarities, right?
Yeah. What you all say? It was similar as AB was. How's the Twitter game? No, not that part of AB. Oh man. What do y'all think about Javon Baker from UCF? I haven't really looked a lot at him. I've only been looking at kind of the top 5 names, but we haven't really gone into our full on draft research yet. I know McConkey just because McConkey's kind of been a top guy from UGA for the last few years, but yeah, I haven't really looked at Javon Baker yet. But don't worry, we're gonna have full on draft prep here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, me either. I haven't really looked at him. There's so many names coming out, and so
they're saying it's one of the best receiver and offensive tackle drafts in the last last decade. So hey, and coincidentally, those are our 2 needs for us. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go to some NFL rule stuff here that's going on. So for those of you who don't know, who don't watch the show regularly, JD was not only a long tenure tight end in the league, JD was also a special teams coach. So JD's got a lot of thoughts on some of the new rule changes that could be coming to the NFL this coming year. So I'm going to kind of read it off, guys. That's kind of alluded here. We're going to break it down between the kickoff and onside kick real fast. But for the kickoff changes that could be coming this year, the proposed rule, the ball would still be kicked from the kickoff team's 35-yard line, but the rest of the kickoff team would be lined up on the opponent's 40-yard line. The return team would line up just 5 yards away on their 35, and no one on either line could leave those positions until the ball is touched or reaches the target zone, which will be between the 20-yard line and the goal line. If the ball is kicked into the end zone, the receiving team gets it at the 35-yard line. If the ball is kicked into the target zone and rolls into the end zone, the receiving team's possession starts at the 20-yard line. By moving the touchback to the 35, kicking teams will be de-incentivized from kicking the ball away from returners. Returners will be incentivized to field balls that reach the target zone, but blockers for each unit will no longer be able to get up to full speed before making contact with opposing players, which will make injuries less likely. Sorry, Jay, that was a lot there, but what do you think about this target zone to try to incentivize returns now?
So I think what they were finding out was that part of the game that people would come see, they were lacking, they were missing. Okay, and the part of it was just a return game. I think it's main reason is they want to continue to cut down on concussions from the collisions. And so when you're running the guys full speed, that helps bring it down. They did a study with through the NFL, 2010, 2011. They ended up finding out that the concussions had went down 42% by changing the rules of kickoff.
Wow.
42%. Okay. So it was significantly worked with the new rules on the kickoff. And that was one thing that they could possibly do to at least control the outcome as far as, at least eliminating some of these concussions that was going on the football field, which is a great thing. It's always about, players' safety, and I'm all for it. I'm 100% for that. Knowing that what guys deal with now, I'm in agreement with that phase of the game. So I do get it. If you kick it in the zone, you get it at the 35-yard line. Okay. So if you kick it short, you may still give a guy a run to start. That joker's still gonna get it at the 5, but he don't get it to the 35. Then he just, I don't know how many returns he should. I don't know if he should be a return man. He should at least get to 25 on something like that.
Yeah.
So it's I don't mind the rule. It's just like anything else. You just got to make an adjustment. The thing is, you adjust over the years trying to do things to, alleviate a lot of these injuries and the concussions. I'm all totally for it. Okay. I do want to see return in games as an old special teams coach. That's what you work on. You work on one phase of the game. You get all these things down, the blocking assignment, who you're supposed to get, and you wouldn't want to, return it. You want guys to be able to stop them. But that is without a doubt a weapon that special teams to your offense can help out. And so I have no problem necessarily with it. I think just because of the details of the rules, like how you just named them out and stuff, was like, okay, all right, here we go. Everybody need to understand this. This is something you have to go over and over again. Okay. Now these new rules haven't necessarily been implemented, right?
They're going to vote on it later on this year. Okay. Before pretty much that things get heated up. I think at the owners' meetings, I think I think it needs 24 votes to pass. The thing about that is the special teams coordinators last week got together at the combine and they came up with these rules. And because apparently in unison with the NFLPA, Troy Vincent and them, they're trying to get kickoff returns back to try to kind of revitalize that again.
Yeah, man. I mean, because you take away one of your weapons, offenses, and so. You would get it at the 25-yard. Now this incentive, like, okay, you get the end zone, you get it at the 35. Okay, we're going to give a team the 35-yard line. Okay, only 65 yards to go and score. I don't know if you want to do that, right? So, no, I like it. I like it. He said, what's the penalty if somebody breaks early? Probably, same penalty, 5 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably moving back. So, you're already, sitting – at your own 40, right? But nobody can move. So you got to keep eyes on make sure nobody moves. Nobody moves on offense or deep, right? Correct?
Yeah.
As how it's working till they get to that zone. And there's that zone, right? And I guess it's where you got to get into the fullness of it. If the ball hits in the zone and bounces into the back of the end, it's a touchback. And we get
as long as it lands inside the zone, then goes into the back of the end zone. Then yes, that's a touchback that goes to the 20.
So I would think that you would try to get your kicker to be a little bit more surgical in his kicking. You could try to do that to make it bounce and roll back.
Yes, that's what Mr. James is asking. Yeah, more of a punting game approach. Do you see that aspect of it? Trying to get it high and into that zone?
I mean, you could. I think, from the 35.
Oof, it's tough, man.
I know it. The hang on it. I mean, you could get it there. You can definitely do it. The distance, I think, on the kick would I think put it more in the offensive side hands. Okay, obviously you still got the fair catch and whatnot, but if you're blocking guys and they can't run until you kick it and get down in their zone, that'd even be tougher. Yeah. So.
Kickers are going to earn their money this year, man. It's been cake for them for a long time. They're going to have to earn their keep now.
But these guys are good, man. These suckers, they could. When I'm telling you, put it where they need to put it. These suckers, they can do it. They can put it where you need them to put it, man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they are very surgical with what they do. It very surgical. So
you think we'll see more squibs next year?
Ooh, I don't know.
Because they're getting the ball at 35. I mean, that's probably right around where a lot of like the up man, like the fullback type guys go down to 35 anyway when they get the squibs.
But if you squib it, you're basically, because you don't have nobody running down.
That's true.
It's got to get in their zone, so you can't necessarily move.
Man, so squibs are going to be extinct with this rule. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, catch the squib, you can take off at the 50.
Yeah, you're screwed if you do squib.
Yeah, 45. So
wow,
I think it'd be probably less squibs then.
I'll tell you, who's going to lose the most on this is defense. First few weeks of the year when special teams trying to figure this thing out, defense is going to get such short field.
Yeah, teams hate that. We just hate it. We always knew it was a weapon because we had Dante Hall back then.
Yeah.
And you hate to see a guy like, especially like that, who has that type of talent, being taken away from the game. And that's what happened in these past years. We didn't have any returns.
Yeah.
Okay. It was almost, I was shocked sometimes when guys would take it out. I'm like, oh my God, he's returning it.
Yeah.
A foregone thing. It was like, oh my gosh, is he actually returning the football? And so it was, you was losing a whole lot, man. You didn't get to see that part of that.
Yeah, at least Tobes make sure you return all kicks during preseason. It's going to make sense now.
Oh yeah. I'm the Brown. Top for the next show. When you take a long time get contract signed, then a similar player is signed for a crazy contract. When your player is better, your cost goes up. What's the plus minus for the land?
You want to tackle that now, JD?
Well, yeah, I think it's what it is. If your cost goes up, so to me, it would be more in the team's long-term benefit to go ahead and sign a guy early, right? Like Chris Jones. Should have went ahead and got signed immediately after we know Sneed, what you're thinking about, what you're going to do with him, right? Like this, and hopefully this will be done by this weekend, whatever. I mean, they've been working on this thing during the offseason, during the season. They didn't want to touch it, but you knew where he was at. You knew where he was at. So free agency comes up. Like I said, I don't think Chris is going to leave unless it's something he just can't just turn down. Because then Chris has done everything he needs to do. He won 3 Super Bowls. He's been up for Defensive Player of the Year and all those different things. He's had all of those accolades put on him. And so his incentive is, hey, man, pay me so I can stay here with the Chiefs and win it here with the Chiefs. How about that? Pure and simple.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that whole situation.
Yeah. You see an example with Chris Jones last year. The delay allowed someone else to get overpaid for someone that was $2 to $4 million more than what CJ was offered. Yeah. That's what happens, man. You better get them early. If we signed Tyreek Hill early to push it to him, he would have been here still.
We tried to get that done with that. What's his name? Who's his agent? Rosenhaus. Rosenhaus made sure to wait. Now let's see what other guys do first.
Yeah, but I think that's what that's when you're waiting for, like, you make it an offer right now that you can't say no to.
Yeah.
Like while you're waiting this time, you shoot. The agent's like, well, shoot, you gonna wait? I'm getting word from over here. He's fishing.
Yeah.
He's fishing. That's what's happening with this agent. He is fishing other teams, making phone calls and saying, we would love to have this guy.
Yeah.
So that's what you do. That's what you do. Go on, do right by a guy, man. Keep him here. He don't have to go nowhere else. Yeah. Case in point, Mike Evans. That's another one.
Yep.
Mike Evans could probably easily go somewhere and get more money than the guy down there in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it. So, man, dude.
Yeah.
I just, if you really love the guy, You know he's been loyal to you. He's done everything that you asked him to do. Pay the guy. Pay it.
Yeah. Some Don Corleone action there. Pingo, I'm all for you can't refuse. Did I need to take you each out to eat? You made my day. Appreciate you, Amna Brown. Always good with your questions, my man. So obviously kickoff was this one rule. Then the other rules, another one's getting a lot of I honestly think the kickoff rules are more interesting than the onside kick rules. These are kind of like, man, onside kick. I honestly don't even care about onside kicks anymore, but the new rules here, it would allow teams to attempt an onside kick only when trailing in the fourth quarter and require them to declare in advance. If the kickoff team declares they are attempting an onside kick, they would be allowed to utilize an unbalanced 6x4 formation to raise odds of a recovery. Only 5.2% of onside attempts in 2023 were successfully recovered, so the new lineup would ideally increase recovery chances for the kicking team. JD, what are your thoughts on the new onside kick rules?
I like it. I think I don't know where teams are on signing, doing an onside kick before then. At least I can't think of any team that was kicking onsides before you was down by a certain amount of points.
The Saints, the New Orleans onside kick before right after halftime in the Super Bowl against the Colts.
Okay,
that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the rule. I do. I think if you get it back to give a team a chance, an opportunity, it makes it more exciting. Okay. When a team does have that chance and opportunity, but at least they got to know, right? You got to say, hey, look, we are kicking off. Let you know in advance, we are doing an onside kick. That's what we're going to be doing. So we're down. We let this, and so teams had to get ready. Teams just had to get ready. But I do like it. I hated where I didn't like the odds where it was still kind of balanced. Now you got the 6-4 where you can do, and then that was another thing to kind of stop concussions from happening, or having guys going out there and be the lead guys to knock the guys back who's trying to get the ball, because that's just collisions right there too. Like you got a wall to stop once the ball is bouncing. You let they tell the front line. This is what I tell them. Hey, front line, let the ball go through. You block for those guys and let the guys behind y'all retrieve the football. That's how it works. Okay. If it's too hot, let it through. Okay. You become the blocker. So the 6 against, he'll probably have let me see, 1 in the back, 2 on the side, maybe 3. So you're still looking at maybe 7 on one side on the defensive side, or the offensive side recovering the football. Okay. Maybe 7 or 8 on that side. Sometimes it's 8. That's usually how it is. 8, 4 in the front, 4 in the back. Okay. Or 3, 5 in the front, 3 in the back, however you want to do it. But it still gives that recovery a chance. Because I think, would you say it was like 2-something% recovery, or 5%? What was it?
5.3%, yeah.
5.3% on recovery. It's not high at all.
Nothing.
Sure. And I almost hated it because you almost knew, because you didn't have enough guys over on the side to be able to recover the football. So I hated that. I hated that the teams didn't really get a shot and a chance, because you kind of handcuffed them a little bit with the rules of not being able to have too many guys on one side. So what I think about it.
Optimistic James, do you think having less players on the field during kickoff and kick return could lessen the injuries? So make it like 2-on-2 or a 5-on-5, like 2-hand touch game return.
Oh man, I mean, you just I think you just get away from the rule. Total 22 on the field at one time. I don't think you want to do that.
Change the game way too much if you do that. Like this whole target zone thing's already kind of getting a little bit out there. That's just changing the game way too much. Yeah,
because I think what you're doing is you're persuading the teams, like, hey, listen, this is going to cut down on concussions and injuries, and you also get the incentive to run the football back. So you won't get all those elements. This might be the best way to do it, so everybody gets what they want. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it's going to work.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think what I was reading was it'll probably pass, but it's going to be one of those year-to-year kind of things. So it's going to be like a test year.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. So
But all right, JD. So we're gonna talk about the. You want to talk about the Kelce brother stuff?
Yeah, real quick. So what I just wanted to bring up with the Kelce thing was, first off, for Jason Kelce doing an amazing career up in Philly. And what I was able to see, like in that press conference, was the love that his brother had for him, the love the brothers had for each other. And I don't, at least for me, to see how successful both of them have been in the NFL, to be regarded as probably the best at their position, not just in the NFL at the time or in a given year. I'm talking about maybe of all time, right? Jason is without a doubt one of the better centers. I know some great centers out there. I know because somebody was like, the greatest center of all time. I'm like, oh, let's not do that yet, okay? But he's absolutely one of the best centers out there who has played the game, no doubt. Athletic guys. But then watching Travis, the type of emotion that he had for his brother and what it meant to him, and seeing it come to an end of this era of like, here me and my brother are living our dream, the greatest dream we could possibly do, our greatest fantasy. We got to even think that we both made it to the NFL. We both been very successful. We both won a Super Bowl. We both done everything we possibly want to do, right? And now it's come to the end of an era. And so I know for me, for having, a big family, I got 7 brothers. It would have been my absolute dream to play with one of my brothers. My brothers are older than me, and I didn't have any opportunity to have something like that. And Marcus, you know that too, having older brothers, like how cool it would have been to play with your brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just how tore up you would have just been seeing something like that. And so I just want to say, man, congratulations. Hat off to an incredible job. Stellar career that he had. But, also too, man, just, kind of, for Travis, because I felt him with the, the cries, because as a big brother, being little brothers, how much you love your big brothers. You look up to them. Okay. And it's kind of funny when you watch how the big brother deals with the little brother. And so, the big brother's got to be a little stoic. He's got to be, a particular way. And we're lovable, younger guys, we just, how we are, man, because that's our big brothers. So that was good. I think it was a great moment for football, and an even better moment for the Kelce family, that everybody could see their love that they play with one another, the love they have for the game, but also too the respect and support that Jason got from Chiefs Kingdom. So yeah. With your nephew, the Lord, I did, and guess what? That time playing with my nephew, my cousins, was the greatest football that I ever played in my life. That is a fact. And my nephew, who played safety on defense, he would turn down a couple of hits, but he was all right. I'm just messing with him because right. Love you, Def. Love you. But it was the greatest honor, man, being able to play with you and the rest of the family in high school. But that means a lot. I just look at the emotion of it, the depths of it. Like there's a whole different, thought process out there, man, when you're out there with your family and even going against your family. The Barbers Golas, McCourtney's Diggs, Bosa's Watts, like all those, but those guys, like even that's a very that's an incredible thing to be able to do, just play with your family, your brothers. I mean, that's huge. That is huge. And so
it's tough. It's tough for one to make it, let alone having siblings or or other family members make it in the league. I mean, it's just so tough. I mean, even doing a D1 level special.
Yeah, that's amazing. So guys who have brothers and family members and stuff like that, man. Hats off, man, to the Kelces, Jason, with his next move in his career, what he's going with, And so I think Travis, and he said, he's going to be able to really enjoy and sit back and take it all in, being off of there. So that'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, we'll be seeing him in a lot of Chief games, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, be good to see him here, man. So he could definitely be a fan. He's definitely gonna be a fan of the Chiefs. You know, we already seen it. So
yeah.
So
interesting. Because Chad brought up a good point, mentioned that he played with you and stuff. You told me a funny story. I want you to tell the audience how back in the day, there's no computer to go and check and see your stats and stuff. Tell a story how you guys look in the local newspaper and would say done all the stats.
It was stats, everything. Dunn had this many tackles. Dunn had this many touchdowns. Dunn had this many interceptions. I mean, you would hear the announcer, tackle by Dunn, touchdown by Dunn, sack by Dunn. And so people were like, man, who's this Dunn guy? I didn't realize it was 4 of us out there. I'm killing folks. That was a headhunter, man. That was a headhunter, and he was our running back too. And when I'm telling you, one of the best running backs, man, I've seen, like just pure ability, could cut on a dime, cut back against the grain. Some people just got that. It's one of those God-given talents that people had, and my nephew had that. And so we talking about competitive. We were competitive, but one thing that we did was we kept that team. We was going to run at a high level because we knew what we wanted to do, and who we were. So it's like, hey man, we ain't slacking off. We are done. So you know what you got to do. And so, when you grow up with somebody, you know what you're going to get out of them. You already know. And so I think that with them, those brothers, they knew what they was going to get out of each other, and they pushed each other to get better. So that's an incredible bond, man. That brotherly love, man, is something else. So.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. Like that. You and I both come from big families, lots of brothers and stuff. I'm the youngest of 5. And all boys and stuff. And just this week watching the Kelce retirement, I got teary-eyed a little bit. And then this past weekend I watched the movie The Iron Claw, the movie about the Von Erich brothers, the wrestling brothers, the 5 of those guys. It's a really, really sad story, but you would appreciate, you're a wrestling fan, the old school wrestling stuff. And also it's I didn't know anything about that story, how the family how they saw it as a cursed, how all of them have passed away over time and stuff. And the one brother who's still alive, I mean, there was one scene at the end of the movie, man, just tore me to shreds, JD. And I was like, man, it's just yeah, I mean, just this whole week, man, I've been the brother stuff's really been really getting to me. And seeing the Kelce stuff really got to me the other day.
Yeah. And it was sadness, but a lot of joy there, and that's what you love to see, how family loves one another. You know what I mean? How they feel each other, because that's exactly how it should be. It's how God made it, and so we should, seeing your big brother up there and him going through it. Travis was he was done. He was done. So I know Travis just want to love on him, and he got emotional. I seen. So I don't really watch the New Heights show. I get little clips and stuff little things on YouTube and watch those things. Yeah. Just getting emotional talking about it. And they're going to be emotional for a while. It's going to be a while, man. I'm telling you. Kelce's going when Jason, when he's sitting over there and probably coming to the game, season starting, he's going to be teary-eyed, crying.
Yeah. I can only imagine, man. I mean, I cried like a baby during my high school senior night. I still get when I went to see my nephew's senior night this past year. I was bawling myself looking at that, because it makes you think about your olden days and stuff. And then you see that you're a man, they're gonna remember this night for the rest of their lives. And it's one of those things, man. Football brings out a certain emotion in you, especially if with them. They were lucky to do that with being able to play with their brothers, whether against them or and with each other when they played in Cincinnati together. So yeah, it's football can bring out the really some deep emotions in you.
Yeah, man. Football players, their time is coming where it's going to end. I seen one of my former players a couple of days ago, and he was just talking about, yeah, coach, I really miss it. I miss the recruiting time, seeing it now, the guys getting drafted and all those different things. I really, really miss it. He said, I wouldn't tell my parents that. He just started laughing. I'm just like, I get it. Because, your parents are like, hey, man, you need to do this. But he was a talented guy. He had the ability. probably did play in the NFL. Could have definitely played on Sundays, at least in my estimation of talent. But it's how it is, Marcus. You know, we're gonna have those days. We got to retire and put it down to something that you love. Oh my gosh, something that you love, man. So.
Yeah.
All right.
And now, like the Kelces, you got to talk about it, and that's what Jason's going to be talking about now too. So there you go. You still at bask in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Appreciate everybody coming out, man. I thank y'all for coming in, giving your questions, and talking with us. Wendy, Kathy, Optimistic James. I think you're your new one coming through. I'm the Brown. Appreciate you. Everybody else, I see my man, my nephew, Chad, but they'll get KC Chief Chad. Absolutely. So appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you, Flapjack City. No doubt, man.
Yes.
Thank you for all the little nuggets and things you throw to us too, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Yes, sir.
you.
So we'll be back on Monday for our normal show. We're kind of going through a different position group this week. And hopefully we can ink in a certain somebody before we get into that show on Monday, because then we'll be talking a lot about who one of those free agents are. So hopefully that guy signed this weekend. But yeah, love you guys, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Hope everyone has an amazing weekend. JD, love you, brother.
Love you too. All right. That'll be
See
good.
everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.